Welcome to Unscrew the News. It's Bruce Joel coming to you from inside of the walls of Chinata. We're trying to get the information out there, trying to help other people to wake up. And I do want to make a note. I haven't said this before, but the reason I do this is to bring attention to what's going on in the world, especially here in Canada. And I'm just a dad, and I decided I have enough is enough. This bull crap has to end. And this is why I do this podcast. I'm really excited about my next guest. You're going to enjoy this, I hope, as much as I do. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm going to start off by showing a quick video of our guest, and then I'm going to bring him on. So stand by here, folks, while I bring up the said video, and you may know him from this.
We're going to have a bright future for our kids, not the gulags that this government wants to put us all in.
Both rallies have sparked local.
Welcome to Unscrew the News, Mr. Randy Hillier. I failed to use the word hero, but because that's changed so much in the last little while, I think that as Canadians, we need to all be standing up together. But I know that you're an inspiration and that you have brought so much hope to other Canadians in your fight for freedom. So I'm really grateful to have you join me here today.
Well, thank you for the kind words, and it's great to be with you as well. And although the name of the show is Unscrew the News, we should say this episode is about unscrewing the people who have been being screwed pretty big time for a long time by our institutions and our political, our corrupt political system here in Canada, and indeed, I would say, throughout the Western world. So thanks for having me on.
A bit of positivity in the province here. And I don't know what the other provinces are feeling, but I think that it's hopeful. But at the same time, we're just wondering, okay, you need to move farther. You need to continue this momentum to take us to the right place.
Listen, I think the people of Alberta can do this, and I think there should be cause for hope in Alberta. But it's not going to be derived, it's not going to be achieved by now sitting back and say, we have a savior now, and her name's Danielle Smith, and she's going to do everything right. You better be prepared to be phoning her office up, phoning up every MLA, and telling your representatives what it is that you expect. Because if you don't, she will end up on the left side of the field pretty quick.
Well, that's fantastic. Thank you for sharing that, because it really is what we need, is action from our people. And I've said this before, is that we need to hold the reins tightly on whatever representative we put into place and make sure that they're staying on course, right?
Yeah, like, this whole corruption of the political system that we've talked about. What we didn't talk about in large part, and which is critical to this, the people, there's an old saying about, in a democracy, you get the government you deserve.
Right.
And it's true. If you think that the extent of your involvement in the governance and administration of your province can be determined, and all you have to do is once every 4 years to go out to the ballot box, well, it would be like suggesting that the only time you have to clean up your house is once every 4 years because somebody's coming over. Well, if you think like that, well, don't be surprised that you're going to be living in a pretty stinky, dirty place. And I think that's the best way to look at politics. If you want your governance and your administration of the province to be effective and to be representative of you, you better be prepared to be involved and clean out the shit every day.
Yeah. So not to sit on the couch, and I know that you continue to say that, and I will continue to express that to our viewers, is that we need to be engaged, and we need to be going to rallies, and we need to be calling up our MPs, MLAs, our city council, whoever it is that we need to keep on track, right?
Just democracy is not a spectator sport. Okay.
Hallelujah.
And uh, it's quite, you know, and it's good for people to phone up their MLA or their councillor or whoever and say, well, listen, I'd like to come in and have a little chat with you and discuss what I think is wrong. Uh, and maybe I also want to hear what your view is, but let's have a conversation and make sure that you're representing my interests the way you're being paid to do so, or at least being paid to consider my interests. How is that MLA going to know what your interests are if you never talk to them?
Right. Absolutely right. So, Randy, we're sort of nearing kind of the end of our time here. I'll have a couple of quick questions for you, if that's okay, and then maybe we can wrap it up. Um, the Emergencies Measures Act. Do you want to just touch on that, just to give us your sense of what did happen or what did not happen in regard to that decision Mosley made?
Well, I think I'd have to go back a little bit and make sure people, my context, the way I would describe it is, COVID was a con, and anybody who is half alert will recognize that it was a con, and but it was a profitable con for everyone involved, except for the general public,
Yeah.
and. And many people were speaking out and building opposition to the con throughout our country. As I mentioned at the beginning of the show, I have 25 charges for having no more lockdown rallies opposing it. The public was building up greater and greater courage to be public in their opposition to the con.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, that culminated with this in Ottawa in February 2022. And Justin Trudeau knew he was losing control of the narrative of the con. And that's what, people on overpasses were no longer waving flags and hugging each other and being beside one another. We're not afraid of the 6 foot rule, and they weren't wearing masks, and they weren't being fearful of being shamed for having a different opinion. The public was mobilizing their courage and finding the courage and the confidence to oppose the con job. And Trudeau knew that he had to try to get the narrative back on track.
Right.
That's why he came out with a bunch of falsehoods and a narrative that the truckers were a small fringe minority, that they were racist, that they were white supremacists, that they were misogynist. He had to convince or try to convince people that his con was the real one, and the public expression was a false one. And of course, he was losing that battle with bouncy castles and road hockey games and pancake breakfasts. He was losing that battle, and he had to up the game here to keep his narrative alive. And that's why he introduced the War Measures Act, the Emergency Management Act, and used it in such a violent and abusive way, and to create some criminals in Ottawa and elsewhere to justify his use of the Emergency Act that was used to justify his narrative of the calm. And Mosley has done a very good job dispelling the falsehoods of Justin Trudeau's small fringe minority in this threat to national security. It's a very detailed decision. I've read it. It's especially starting from paragraph 255 on in his decision. He really spells it out that there was no justification. Not only was it unconstitutional and ultra vires, there just wasn't any justification for the emergency management in Canada. But a liar will create ever more lies to hide the original sin.
So do you hold out any hope of anybody actually paying a price for this in the face of our Charter of Rights? I know the Charter of Rights in Canada is not there's no teeth to it. I mean, there's very little that can be done for going against the Charter and quashing these people's rights. But do you have any hope whatsoever that somebody's going to be held accountable?
Oh, I hope so. We're seeing Australia, New Zealand, Slovakia have all come up with pretty substantial national inquiries, authoritative national inquiries into their handling of the COVID. I'm going to be in Washington in February for an international COVID summit and Senate hearings in the U.S. What Canadians have to realize is that these things don't happen unless there is pressure and leverage applied. And Canadians, I think a lot of Canadians think, well, I'm just going to sit back and hope something happens. Okay. Right. Well, nothing happens in politics unless it's made to happen. Okay.
Crazy.
The corruption just doesn't happen. The money makes it happen. If we want to hold people to account, you actually have to be engaged. And I don't mean just putting something out on Twitter or putting something out on Facebook. I mean, you actually have to pick up the phone and call people, and you have to actually go and talk to people and write letters to people, and to be on talk radio. And you have to be you have to be active, but not in a passive way. You have to actually go out and discharge your obligations and your responsibility to your family to make things right, so that we don't allow this to happen again with the next fictitious, fake crisis that is just around the corner.
You know what? This is the perfect ending. You've sort of summed up all of what I'm hoping, the message could be to our viewers and to Canadians and to the people around the world. Really, this is a great message, is to, obviously to participate. And it's not social media, because obviously this just goes into the wind, but we need to, be picking up the phone, and we need to be visiting people face to face and having real conversations. This is one of the things that I think is very difficult when they divide us, is actually being able to have a conversation with somebody. So,
well, it certainly will be far more valuable to go out to Tim Hortons, have a coffee with people and tell them what you think, than it will be to gain another follower on Twitter. Okay, we have really lost sense of how things actually operate. Because we get a like on Facebook or Instagram or something, that doesn't change anything. you go out and actually talk to people, and maybe even invite some people over to your house and have a conversation about what you think is going right or wrong in your neighborhood. Uh, you know, and uh, and then take it from there. But be engaged, be involved, and speak out, and that's the way the world actually works.
Fantastic. Before we go, I want to say to everybody that I'm honored, and my viewers have been honored to be in the Scuttlebutt Lodge with you in this historic place. But I also want to draw attention to being able to help you out. And I'm just going to share this, if that's okay with you, Randy, is your website and the No More Lockdowns Canada. I'm just going to quickly share this, everybody, so you can see. And this is how you can help Randy Hillier out, is obviously being able to donate right here, join the mailing list, right? And then we can visit the Scuttlebutt Lodge, everybody, if you felt like it. I'm just going to click on the link so we can show everyone this beautiful location where you're at today. All right. Anything else that you want to say on the way out here, sir?
Well, we'd love having people at the lodge. If you want to come down and have a conversation, a bonfire, some beverages, and enjoy some freedom, we're here. And I think we need to just have the fortitude, just have the strength to speak out and defend our children and our grandchildren, and get rid of this corruption that is surrounding us so much, and have fun while you're doing it, because it is fun.
Well, there's some amazing people. I have to tell you, over the last 4 years, I've met some of the most genuine, honest, and fun people to be around over the last 4 years. It's really changed, I know, my life, and I know a lot of people in my circle have learned and experienced a lot of new things. So it's been fantastic.
Well,
Anyway.
It's been a pleasure chatting with you, and hopefully you can make it to Lanark County sometime and sit around the bonfire and have a beverage with me as well, and not just do it on the internet world.
Yeah, I look forward to that. I look forward to coming out and visiting you in Lanark County here in the next while, and seeing your chickens, because I hear about a bunch of chickens. So anyway, everyone, thank you very much for watching. Please share this far and wide, get the message out there, and get active. I keep saying this, but we got to keep getting active, and not just posting on social media, but really meeting with your neighbors and making a difference. So thanks very much for joining me, Mr. Hillier. I appreciate all that you do, and keep inspiring people. So
it's been a pleasure. We look forward to chatting again down the road.
Okay, take care. Good night, everyone. And again, share this information. God bless. Thank you for watching Unscrew the News. If you've enjoyed our podcast or educated from it, give us a thumbs up. All the blessings, and make the world a better place.